So it is 9:32. I'd like to call the March 18th, 2025 meeting of the COA Board to order. We are being recorded by Area 58. So first thing on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. There you go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay.
On the back of the controller.
So we have the February 18th board minutes.
There you go. Got it. Thank you. All right. Thank you. All right. Okay, sure. All right, bye. Okay, I think it's all set.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Where it says Fred made a motion to accept and Pat seconded it, can we just put that the minutes were approved? Yep. We always put them with both of them. You know, like who approved them. So it's the board that approves the minutes. So we had Fred make a motion, Pat seconded, and then we all approved it. So minutes approved, you can put unanimously. I don't know how to spell that, so I'm gonna just.
So it just, should I leave it Fred Corrigan made a motion and then Pat, and then?
Yeah, and then minutes were approved.
Okay.
It's approved, just add it to it, that's all.
Unanimously. I know how to spell it.
Look at you. I was just saying that because I was like, I don't know how to spell unanimously. Okay, let's get serious, Jean. Okay. Mission statement on the newsletter, good. Can I have a motion to approve the
I
minutes?
make a motion to approve the minutes.
You second that motion?
All those in favor?
Aye.
So I think I meant to put the job description review under the chair's report. Because that was something that I looked at and I thought we should rewrite it. And then I wanted to talk about the age waive research. So I just think that that should be the chair's report. And then where it says new business, it should be up to like the director's report, or do you want your director's report to be like all your Excel stuff?
Oh, that came out, yeah. It actually, the way it came out, yeah, I fixed it. I did fix it and I didn't print it. Good.
What, on the agenda?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it did say Excel budgeting count, yeah.
Okay, that's
So
fine.
then it was, yeah, so it was supposed to pull it up. I did
Okay.
fix it on the computer, but I think I sent you the good one though. I think I did.
You may have, but then I looked at it
fixed
and
it,
I was
'cause
like, oh, I already have that, so,
Yeah,
okay.
it's like, wait, that's not
Okay.
supposed to do that, so I
Yeah,
fixed
so as
it.
long as everything's on the agenda.
Yep, I'll fix it.
So we can go with your director's report on the Excel sheets, right?
Oh yeah, so my reporting, okay. So this is what it looked like. This is originally when we were in the meetings before, what I brought. And this is what I keep, and then what happens is I send the monies over to the accountant's office and treasurer's office. And then we're to get a report from the accountant's office. It usually is every third month. And then we reconcile. So, but we don't have, since there's changes and stuff, we don't get them as regularly, but that's, so I just keep my own. So I'm just giving you this until I get an accountant's one. But we were deciding whether or not to use that or this, or, you know. I just think
the
one or the
accountants,
other.
I think, right, and I think the accountant's thing, and if it's every 3 months that she sends it out, I think that's fine. I think it's just, you know, another way that we can support you. So,
Yeah.
like, is there anything you're concerned about with your transportation revolving fund? Where does that money come from?
Oh, it's the collections of the monies when we transport, you know.
Oh, okay.
What we charge.
Okay.
And then we use to manage it. But now, remember, what we do is, we are with GATRA at this point. Everything, it's a lot of paperwork, but I really think it's a wise decision because we've actually, all the salaries, any repairs, fuel, drivers' wages are all subtracted or actually billed to GATRA, and then we get a reimbursement check. So the question
Do you
is,
use our drivers and?
yeah, so our drivers are not GATRA drivers. We supply that, but we do have to follow the GATRA rules, which is awesome. Because first and foremost, we do have guidelines that they're expected to be tested. We do MARTAP testing as well, but they go above and beyond a little bit deeper in the testings and trainings and so on, which is a good thing. The vans themselves, over some period of time, I don't know when it does kick in, that will end up, the vans will then be maintained by GATRA at some point. In some towns that already happens, they may have a GATRA bus, you've probably seen them, or a GATRA van, and those actually they go to Taunton. They're building a new location too, I think in Brockton, but they're maintained by their own, mechanics. So at some point, it's going to have to, it'll be a good thing. The details behind it, that's something that you could ask Cody on
Do you
too.
have a timeline of when that might, like when we might start that or?
I don't know what the dollar amount is.
No, like a timeline, like when do you think we'll start that?
Start.
Using the GATRA vans?
That's what I mean, like, it depends on the funding and finances and so on. So it's a lot behind the scenes.
Yeah, yeah.
But the simplicity of the way it really works is that depending on our usage, I think over time, then we actually will probably get a van. I don't know exactly when. I think it depends on our usage. So it's a financial thing that we can ask town administrator on how to use it. So.
Okay, well, I know we've been talking about this and I just was, it was always something
It
that
is.
was kind of like I didn't really understand, so.
All I know is that every town is different. I came from a town that actually ended up with a GATRA bus. So I don't know why only certain towns will get a GATRA bus and other towns don't. I don't know if it's because of the funding. So every MBTA that does come through the town, there's funding that the state authorizes to the towns. So that now is that we get that over to, in the town of Halifax, we have funding from the MBTA, which then we then give that to GATRA to maintain all these things. But if it goes above and beyond, then we make out, right? So if we're paying $80,000 and we gave them 60, we're ahead of the game by 20,000, you know? Excuse me, I should have brought water. So that's the way it would work in some towns. So, but it's, sometimes some of the towns do also have a door-to-door, not a door-to-door, but a on-demand, you know, where you can call as a participant, you know, in the community, and then have, you know, bus service there. So certain towns do have that, and you would have to go to that certain site to go to pick up the bus. I know Kingston had that. But we're not there yet, so I think it's, again, the population and funding too.
But you continue to work on it, so eventually we'll be there?
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know specifically. All I know is I have a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of paperwork, but it's okay. It's all good. It's all good.
You have a lot of paperwork.
It's a lot of paperwork, and I just keep my head above the water with the paperwork and then all this other stuff. But it's a good thing, and like I said, if we go above in our costs, say one of our vans breaks, you know, we have a 2013 van, and if you know somehow that
Did you see what they
falls
did?
short
Did you
of,
see that
you know,
note on the
breaking,
door with the,
do you mind if I, because this is all getting recorded too. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
find it hard when I go to listen, you know, I hear all the background noise.
Yeah. Do you want to shut the door?
Yeah, just that.
Yeah. Okay.
It just makes it a little hard, you know, it's when you, because I end up listening to the tapes. So it would be a good thing to have it, to see what the outcomes for the systems is. And, but like I said, every town is doing something different.
So I think the doors are shut, and that's great, but I think I'll remember next time to have some signs. Like, because when the library's locked and we do a trustee meeting, I put a sign on the door that just says, you know, welcome, COA meeting, please come in. So I'll do that for next meeting.
We would be have to open a little, it's just that,
Yeah.
no, it's so loud.
I know it is. Okay, so I'll do that next meeting.
And so now the gifts and activity account, that's a revolving account. So what's deposited in that account is pretty much all cash. So say for instance, the Zumba accounts, anything we collect for the activities, for Zumbers, for strength training, for yoga, that goes into the account here. And then what I do is also pay out of this particular account. Any donations are actually, I was told they had to be defined in this account as well. Anything having to do with any activities, if we decide to have activities, most of it does come out of our state grant, but on occasion we would have like a dinner, and we would take that monies out of this particular account to pay for that, because people that make donations are saying that that's where they would like it to go to programs and that type of thing.
And that goes in your gift account?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, great.
So, and by the way, we do get reimbursed for, what I don't understand, I have to ask again, but, so when we get a reimbursement check from GATRA for the transportation, it doesn't go back into this account. It has to go into another account somewhere.
Yeah.
But it's not in this, it's not in the gifts and activity.
No, you would probably have us set up a town account just for GATRA money.
It wouldn't go in the transportation revolving account?
No.
Yeah, they would probably just set up a GATRA and new accounts like that.
Yeah.
Have to go to a
I'd just
town
like to
meeting
see
vote.
it, because I
Yeah.
keep records for myself.
So are we getting money now from GATRA?
We already got reimbursed for, it goes quarterly, I'm sorry, it was annually, so it starts July 1st to the July 1st of the next year. So we did April, May, and June, the end of June. 3 months, we got reimbursed for those months. So I
Last April, May, and June?
and so I gave monies, the check over to the town, but I don't, it's not recorded in anything I have. So I'd like
We
to
should
know.
check with Cody about what account that went into.
Right, because I keep record of, because I make a copy of the check myself, you know, keep. a
Yeah,
record.
yeah.
So I make a copy of the check and then just keep a record for myself, but.
So
And
does
then they
the
attach
check
it to all
go-
my paperwork, my audit paperwork, so if we ever get audited, I can pull that.
So the check goes, they send the check to you or they send the check to town hall?
No, it sends, it goes to the COA. The check will go there. I then make out the, turnover sheet and it gets deposited, but I don't know where it gets deposited.
Okay. So we'll check with Cody about what
Like, I don't know what account, or if it has to be that, because it's pretty much town money, I think, because of the fact that,
Yeah,
because of the MBTA.
okay.
That's, what else? We give you a little time, but that's just the whole year, annually, what's in there.
And so on this report, it looks like when you put down like revenue, and I don't, we don't need to get into too much, but do you keep a record of what that revenue is? Like if it was a check from this one?
Yep.
You just don't have it on this sheet of paper?
No, in terms of, like, if we got a donation?
Well, like on July 11th, it says $15 under revenue. And that's 2020, it's just like right at the top of the page.
2024.
Yeah.
On third page or what?
No, right at the first page.
Yeah.
It says revenue, like the first entry is $25. So do we know where that 20,
Yeah.
who gave us that?
It's a Zumba
class.
Gold. Got some of the Zumba class.
Yeah, there's a collection of the Zumba class.
They
Oh,
pay
I see,
$5
they paid $5, okay, I
Yeah,
see.
so it's like, $5, there was 5 people that, so if you go to the records, you can always pull the records.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Oh,
I
I
show
see.
her, what I do is I show her invoice that we billed, but then I take it out of the state.
Okay, yep, yep.
There you go, that.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
So the only thing, we want to move on to the chair's report and then get down to all that new business. So the chair's report, what I wanted to do, and I put it under director's report. So what I wanted to talk about was this, last meeting, Darlene had given us a copy of a sample job description for the COA board members, and this was from Georgetown. And my intention was to go through it and kind of, rewrite it and then bring it to the board. And I didn't have time to do that. But then this morning I was thinking we should all do that, and we should do that together as an exercise. So I think that maybe you can take this home and just mark it up. I think it's pretty standard. There was only a couple of things once I looked at it that I think we really have to just kind of take out. But you're just kind of reading this and then,
oh, come on in. Hi, come on in.
Hi, Diane.
Nobody notified me
I did, I called your house.
just now.
Yeah,
You didn't tell me ahead of time.
because I thought you knew. And then I
I
said,
didn't even know I was on the board yet.
you're not on the board.
Come
Oh,
on in, though.
So,
hi everyone, I'm Diane.
so the
You do crazy board member.
Yeah, so the way it works is, so you filled out the talent book.
Oh, all right.
So then you come to a meeting and we kind of like
But
interview
nobody told me
you.
about the meeting.
I thought I did, then that's my fault, 'cause I thought I did when we talked about it. You were in my office and I said, oh, it's the third Tuesday.
Oh, like this gal's gonna remember
I know,
that.
I know.
This is what they do to me all the time. This is what they do all the time.
Yeah.
I already told you
You guys on the
that.
phone with the VA.
I know, I talked to Billy.
Yeah, he said.
Yeah.
And I have Old Colony coming
Yeah.
We'll talk about the price.
It's weird. Old Colony, I don't know why they're coming, but I do want to say no.
I know, okay, we'll talk later.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
On the, because we're being recorded.
Oh, okay.
So we don't want your private information on the.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh,
So
oh,
Diane, do we have an extra copy of the job description?
I left it here. Isn't it?
Hi, Fred.
Maybe it's down there.
Yeah.
Do you want
Down, you
mine?
must have it.
Do you want mine? We can share.
There was an extra one.
Right there.
So Diane, to kind of catch you up to speed, and it's not on the agenda, so I don't think we can really interview you today.
Oh, okay.
But we can interview you the next meeting, and then we'll appoint you to the board. If you want to, if, what?
Why am I here then?
To observe.
To observe.
See
Yes,
if you really want to do it.
to see if you really want to do
That's
it.
why I called you like last month. When I called the last month, and was like, yes, you're gonna be.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. I
And
did.
then I was like,
Yeah.
let's chat, and we never get to chat. So,
Yeah.
because I was gonna fill you in and
I
tell
just
you.
stopped at the COA to see if you were there.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm all over the place.
So we did the minutes. Darlene gave us a little review of her, of some of her accounts. I think moving forward, Darlene, I think just the budget status reports that you get every 3 months
All right.
are fine, unless you have like a question that you want to run by the board, or,
Okay.
you know,
Sounds like a plan.
something's, your account's running low or something, but I think
Yeah.
just the budget status is fine when you get them from Lindsay.
Okay, cool. Sounds like a plan on
We
that.
shut the doors, Diane, because of the sound, and we are being recorded on Area 58. Next time, I'm gonna come with signs that say, oh, you know, come in to COA board meeting. We're open to the public, we're being reviewed. So, and so right now we're talking about, Darlene had brought up at the last meeting that she wanted to, she knows some of the other COAs have board member job descriptions. So she printed out a copy and sent it to us. I was going to rewrite it and bring it to a vote, just to kind of make it personalized to us and this board and what we do. But then I didn't get a chance to, but then this morning I was like, well, this should really be the board's input, not just what I rewrite.
Yeah,
So,
so the actual concept of it is just to define what we have on our board. If there's a secretary, what does the secretary do? What does the chair do? What do I do? You know what I mean? So just to define that, because then if you wanted to be a part of the board, or the other people that want to submit their talent bank form, they would have an understanding as to really what it is all about in
It's not
their
online.
position.
There's no description.
No, it doesn't define the actual, you know, what the secretary does or what the members do, what's their responsibilities once they are on board. Because I think with that, it gives you a better understanding that, you know, your expectations when you come on.
Oh, I agree,
You know,
because I've been on boards where they've overstepped and they don't know what they're actually,
Yeah.
job is.
So, I mean,
we do
it just
have,
makes it
we do
clear.
have bylaws. Well, we have the town bylaws, but then we have something called policy and procedures that we kind of all follow, and it kind of defines the chair. I think we have a chair. I can't remember if we have a vice chair, but right now the only thing we have is a chair, and you're looking at her.
I just don't know. Fred was naughty, so I thought maybe it was Fred.
Basically, go ahead.
But the next time you're at the library, I can give you a copy of the policy and procedures and stuff like
Yeah, I'll
that.
email you too.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you have my email down there.
Yep. So then, you know, we just, you know, we have your governing rules, and then we have the description of who we are in terms of our board. You know, and all boards are created equal, but in each town is different. In some of them.
I actually like this kind of job description, and then we can bring it, we can add to it as far as.
Yeah, I'll cut it, make it simplified too.
Yeah.
Oh, here's an extra one, sorry. I mean, that's just a description of what we think, a summary of what our needs are.
So this is Georgetown's.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sample.
Yeah.
But we could use that type of a summary and then define the responsibilities.
Yeah,
Because of who we are, because we might not have a big board or secretary. And
How many people usually on the board?
There's, well, we're conditioned up to 7.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this is it right now? 4?
And
No, there's
Pat.
one more.
Oh, Pat.
Pat's not here.
Pat's out of the
Okay.
office.
So you would make, yeah, and I don't know why she's not here.
So this
She's
would be
usually
an
here.
uneven vote at this point, though.
No, so we are a board of 4 and 3 of us are here, so we
Right,
can vote, yeah.
But you're a board of 4 as a rule, so that would be an uneven vote at certain times.
Then I think the chair wouldn't vote.
Okay.
But we have, I thought you were talking about a quorum, so we have a quorum.
Yeah, no, I was talking about like if you were voting.
Right. So it would be nice to have 5.
Yeah, no, I've not.
Yeah.
So hurry up. No.
Sorry. I plan on it. Because I was upset that I came off the library trustee board, so, and I was on major personnel and finance before, so I've been like,
Well, you can run for library trustee, pull your papers, have fun with that.
thank you. Mornings are easier, nighttime was hard for me.
Yeah, nighttime is So we were talking about this job description, and I've given everybody, if you want to go home and just kind of change it up, and I would review the policy and procedures, because I think like what the chair does and what the secretary does is in that policy and procedures.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to combine it. I like this, we'll just change the, put our mission statement in, and that's everywhere, and we just revise that. And then, if you need to take anything out of the responsibilities, and we can like bring this to a vote next.
Well,
At the next meeting.
So quickly, just to recap a little bit. So we have the mission statement, and then decide whether or not, as a board, what our responsibilities are. Or, like here, that's what it says. Or define each position that we have on the board as secretary, right?
Yeah, we can add that in here, but I
Yeah.
think that's defined under policy and procedures.
Yeah. Okay, it does bring that in, so incorporate them.
Right, yeah. Yep, that's what I'm thinking.
Okay, I just like that. I have to have
Everything all like together. Okay. And so that's good. We'll do that next meeting.
Okay.
And then my other thing was, so we had talked about having the health expo, and we were going to look at getting the gym for September. And then I noticed in the newsletter that that's kind of an age wave social club health fair. So what's the difference? Or are we going with like the resource fair with the age wave?
So where does it say that it's age wave? Did I write that? I'm just going over you mean in the spring, the March newsletter, right? So basically, I was just
In the next few months, we will prepare for Aging with Grace Resource Fair. So is that the same thing as the health fair we were going to have in September?
It was called Aging with Grace.
Okay, so,
That's what I wanted to, that's
okay.
what I wanted to call it.
Okay, so they're one and the same, and
So, no, not one and the same. So, Age Wave Social Day is a different type of program. That is something totally different. Aging with Grace Resource Fair is a fair of all information. It's a hub, basically, of resources.
right.
Yep.
So we had talked about that
Yep.
being in September. So is that
Correct.
the same thing as we were
Yes.
talking about with the health fair?
Yeah, in this
Okay.
September. Well, let's retract here. My my thing was to have Aging with Grace Resource Fair, not Health Fair.
Right, no, that's fine. That's
So
what I'm
Aging with
asking.
Grace Resource Fair means that Old Colony might come and explain what they do. Independent living centers might come in and describe what they're doing. The state might come in and say, hey, listen, we'll talk about reverse mortgages. And then somebody else, AARP might come in and say what we do.
And you're talking about doing this in September in the
Correct.
gym.
Right, so what happens is there's so many information packets out there, so much information per se. And we want to make sure that we provide information to people that are vetted in a way, but that, it's going to be useful within the community.
Yeah. No, I think it's a great idea, and I
So-
just would, I'd love
And
to
then let
move
them take
forward
what
on
they
it,
want. It's an
but,
option.
yeah.
It's optional, if it's fit for them.
Yeah.
So, and then we bring in vendors. When I say vendors, it's not like you go to the open market, but it's more of vendors that are within the human health and resource areas. So, for instance, we might have home health support people that need to come forward and describe what they do. And, there's a lot of other resources out there that we feel like that the state might not be able to handle because it's an overabundance. So what other resources could they
Right,
tap into?
right. So whatever we call it, and then,
Aging with Grace.
Aging with Grace, we want to have that in September in the gym. So we should choose a Saturday, or I need a date to go reserve the gym.
Yeah, so I was looking at more towards the end of September, and but I don't know if there's sports going on.
So we talked to Dick at the last meeting, and I think he said September was a good
Time.
If we get into like October, that might be getting a little, because we need it for the whole day, right? It's
Right.
basically a
Yeah,
9
it'll
to 3 or something event.
9 to 2, 9 to 3.
Okay.
So what we need to understand too, again, is what is available. Now, if Dick is the only person that we can go to,
So, no, we don't go to Dick. He explained that the last, I have to
Oh,
go to
sorry.
Mr. Beaudry.
oh, Mr. Beaudry, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, dokie. So we can,
But I had said that I would do that. Do you want to do that?
no, well, okay, you said you'll do that, okay, good.
Okay.
Take-
So I just need a date, yeah.
Take it. We'll just go ask Mr. Beaudry if in fact there's any availability on a Saturday in the month of September. If he says, I only have this date, then we have to have it that date. If I
Okay.
go and say, oh, the 18th, you're gonna come back to me and say, oh, we can't have it the 18th.
Okay.
So let's go with what they have open. So
Okay.
I would ask them, September comes, what is there available on a Saturday that we could use? And then
Okay.
that'll dictate our date.
Okay, perfect. So I will contact him.
Can I just interrupt for 1 minute?
Absolutely.
Well, we probably would be able to get the gym on a weekday. It's just that a lot of these companies might not have representatives, like if you wanted Social Security to come, if you wanted the VA to come, they might not be willing to come on a Saturday, but
Yeah.
most health fairs or fairs are during the work week.
Wonder if we could get on a Friday, but see, schools
Yeah,
in session.
School's in session and the
Great
gyms,
hall.
and the gyms used,
It's
Could
just
be
that
a great hall thing, it's just that
I used to do health fairs at the Sheriff's Department. And we always had them during the week where the companies were accessible.
That's true too.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point. But the thing about it is though, when we say Great Hall, I was just thinking of accessibility because the gym, you're just one level, so that's the only reason why we're thinking that. But I'd like to have it on a Friday, that'd be perfect. I don't know, see
Just
that.
food for thought.
Unless, of course, we get it on, what days off do the kids have in September?
No, I wouldn't think that there'd be a Friday.
Or even Columbus Day, maybe.
Columbus Day, we could do Columbus Day weekend.
I mean,
I mean, let's think about it,
like that Monday, you mean?
because Yeah, maybe a day where the school is closed.
You know, that Monday on
Yeah.
that Columbus Day, the school would be closed. That would be ideal to run it.
Yeah, I mean,
But then again, those companies would be probably on a vacation day, so they might not come.
yeah, I mean, like Social Security, correct in that regard. They're not going to come on a Saturday. Maybe she would, maybe she wouldn't. I don't know. But, yeah, we could, you know, I can't guarantee that they would be available. But, and I think that's a little bit more situational too, where you could have more of an educational program, where I had one before, where she was on a Zoom meeting and people could ask, you know, questions, but 3 people showed up. So, but I'm thinking it might be nice to do it again, but maybe we could encourage more people to come.
If we did it in the Great Hall on a Friday, what do you think is a better space? This is a little bit smaller. I think that's kind of what we talked about is the gym. But yeah, I mean, that's,
I mean, that would be ideal only because it's just easy capacity to go, you know, in and out. Here, it's, you know, I think it's a lot more for people to walk. You know,
especially when buildings closed on Fridays.
So you're coming up the long way into the door, then you go in the door, then you gotta take her to the elevator, and then it's all the way, you know what I'm saying? Whereas the gym is like, you're right in. That's the only reason why I say the gym was really good.
So how about you start looking at vendors and seeing, or people and seeing what they think of a Friday or a Saturday.
Yeah, and then, you know, like you were mentioning, is that if I ask the state what they're available to do, you know, even like the Real ID's coming up, guys, right? You guys start thinking about that if you guys want to travel. So I do want to talk to them, you know, have that information available to people to remind them, because I think a lot of people are just like, oh, I'll think about it later, and that was last year, so here later is. So we just want to make sure that we kind of remind people that they gotta, if they do want to travel, that.
All right, so I'll check the gym's availability on a Saturday, and I think you should start, like, reaching out to the vendors.
On Friday.
They'll be in school on Friday.
Yeah, all right, so then Saturday, I don't know. Well, just check what the availability is. Saturday in the month of September?
Yeah.
We could do
Yeah.
August, but I mean, people could be on vacation. You know what? If you want information, you can come. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that would be.
August would be good too.
Yeah, I can check the availability in August on a Friday too.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully people will be getting ready to come back to school.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, it's for our population, 50 and older.
I'd rather have it in September and stuff, but I think that's you don't want to limit the people that can come because it's on a Saturday. So I'll check Fridays in August and Saturdays in September.
Okay.
I know the gym is filled up with programming in July. So I can check on August.
Okay, thank you.
All right, that's kind of all I had questions about.
Okay, so John's going to do Ageway Resource. Okay, so the Ageway Resource Fair outfit, you know that's clarified, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so new business, do you want me to mention a couple of things? Yep. Ageway grant status, so finished finalizing the grant status as of this point, but we're hoping that we can continue the program. Now, I rewrote I just got a notification this morning from the grantee through the state to ask them if I could revision some of the grant information. So for instance, so that we could actually have some classes outside. And if we can continue this program, The difficult part, of course, is actually having the salaries in place. So I do have some funding. I'm going to see if I can use some of that funding. I have to go through Cody to ask if I can do that. Right now, the position that hasn't been filled has been the nurse's position. It's been sitting there dormant. And there's funding that was coming out of our grant, our state grant, that was to pay the nurse. And she also got paid for outreach. So there was like $32 an hour she was receiving between the two positions. She would do a little bit of outreach and a little bit of
And why
nursing.
doesn't she do that anymore?
The nursing part of it is that, first and foremost, people using that as a clinic. We're not a clinic. We are there to screen. And so we were able to get resources. For instance, we asked Gather Health, so we have a nurse from Gather Health, which then now the liability is, if anything does happen or questioning, it's not on the town. Okay, so what was happening, and I'm going to be open, and maybe too open, but when we had the nurse in place here, it was a wonderful thing to have, but information wasn't being stored properly. So we were, you know, with HIPAA and anything having to do with people's medical information, it wasn't being stored in a way that was protected. So we can't do that. So, and there's no way to store, personal information, no matter if it's just your weight. There's no information in the system to retain that safely. So that was one thing. The other thing that we were doing is injecting people with diabetes, with medications, but we were also paying for the strips. We shouldn't have to pay for the strips. The town doesn't pay for the strips. If somebody doesn't have the funding for it or something else, there's ways to get around that. We can go, there's programs out there and look for it. But we were paying for these strips. So that was another thing. So, and people were like forfeiting, because the way the industry is going right now in the healthcare systems, we know that it's hard to get a PCP. And it's difficult. Our doctors are retiring. Some of them, are changing practices. So now they're on a waiting list. So now they're finding like, hey, it's easier to go to the senior center. Well, actually, a person that has high blood pressure, has other comorbidities, really need to go to the doctors. They need to still follow through with their physicals. They still need to go follow through. So if the nurse or somebody says to them, you need to really follow up with your doctor, and they're like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll try tomorrow, and they don't do it, to me, it's just giving it's just giving that false impression that we're a clinic, that we serve to make sure that, yes, we'll give you a piece of paper, go to the doctors, you're going to bring this to your doctor because your blood pressure was a little high, or maybe, depending on how they tested it throughout the day, but, in that time period you were visiting, but something that you need to go see your doctor with, you need to follow up. And nobody's always there to say, because we're there once a week, we're not calling that person up. That's the outreach part. Hi, did you get to the doctors today? And so there's a lot more than what we can handle. Some places do have nurses that are through the Board of Health. So we do have a nurse through the Board of Health that's funded by the state or through their grants at the Board of Health. I've requested that we have the nurse come once a month to our facility, and it never happened. So she came a couple of times on a Thursday, and that was it. So once a month, just to come here. But what's happening is the nurse is coming here to this building. Nobody knows that they're here. And so basically, it's just the employees going down to use the nurse. And I'm like, it's open to the public. It's a Board of Health thing. So basically, we should be using some of those systems, saving our tiny grant monies that we get from the state, our wonderful grant money, I should say, and use it in the best way possible to serve the public, to serve us. So I said, you know, what we need to do is start looking at, maybe looking at some of these support respite care programs that we can actually fund a person to work as a liaison for the Age Wave Social Club. So that was one thing. The assistant outreach position hasn't been filled. So I thought maybe that's another position, part-time, 19.5 hours, that we could probably fund through the state grant to have somebody support the Age Wave Social Club. So I don't know what it is I have to do specifically to get that approved, because now it's basically changing a job description in a way, but then it's using the money for a good resource that it's a program that's turned out to be a very successful program in terms of the people wanting it. And in fact, 3 more people called I've got to reach out to. And the nice part of it planted a seed to work with Bridgewater has been outstanding. Initially, I thought to myself it was a lot for us to incorporate a hybrid program, hybrid technology, and then combine that with, certain types of cognitive issues, sensitivity issues. To me, that was dealing with 2 specific topics that are very delicate. And I really felt like we really needed to be very careful how we developed it, but the way we ended up working with it and creating that hybrid technology piece is that, for instance, now I made the request to go back in and say, okay, we had technology called the OWL, where we were finding that the OWL technology wasn't as supportive to somebody with sensory issues. I mean, we know when we're listening to, I know when I listen to the tapes, the Area 58, TV or videos, I hear a lot of, background noise. Well, imagine if you have sensory issues, it's difficult for that person to focus. So if we're going to do streaming, so somebody that's at home, and maybe we're doing a Tai Chi class or some type of a class, or even an art class, and there's a lot of echoing, it's just not it's not a favorable thing for that person with the cognitive issues. So I looked into maybe another option through the GoPro. Maybe because now too, we're not our activities are not always at the center, they're off-site. So we have to be mobile. So I have to think of things that are going to work when you leave the facility. Can you take the OWL with you? Yeah, you can lug it with you. But I thought maybe a GoPro. So GoPro will be able to stream, and it'll be able to stream off-site. And then we can stream that to home. So that's another part of this. So with this grant, it's opened up a lot of opportunities for us to look at in terms of the future, in terms of what's going to happen or is happening right now. And our state is actually looking at the Aging and the Executive Office of Aging and Information. Now I can write.
I think that's the grant that's due.
The Executive Office of Elder Affairs is now the Executive Office of Aging and Independence. So it's just all this flashing stuff I got in here. I got to just get it out. But anyway, so that's what they're looking for us to kind of, the towns, even our smaller towns, have to look at, pay attention, because there's a lot of change that's going to
So
happen.
is that grant, that EOAI grant that's due, that's what you're talking about?
Yep. So that actually, so that grant status is due to end of March 31st. So when I say end, the funding ends. The funding ends from the state. The only other option is to rewrite a grant and see if we can, I'm looking for other grants that maybe we could use.
Oh, so this isn't you writing, this is kind of like your...
This is the finalization. Yeah,
Oh,
so-
this is finalizing that,
Yeah,
okay.
so we had to, Bridgewater actually is going to do their own thing, and the director there is leaving also. So she was the host, or that Bridgewater was the host where they maintained the funding, and that they got all the funding, and then I submitted the bills to them. So they kind of managed that, not kind of, but they did manage that part of everything. So if we had to buy something, we would actually then submit the bill over to them. And so, but if I had a change on our end, say, which I did, like the GoPro, trying to get more useful stuff that, like their senior center has a lot of stuff that they could use, we would need to build that. So I was asking, in fact, that's what I'll do when I leave here. I have to go back and explain to them the reason why I'm asking for additional information or additional items for us, our usage. And even just to have programs outdoors. So like I said, for the GoPro, being able to record something on the outside and being able to record when we go to outside and to have activities, our strength training classes and so on, to be able to record those too. So a whole idea is to utilize the technology that's out there to the best of the ability. For instance, another thing that's going through my mind right now is that Old Colony Elder Services just got funded it's a couple of months now, to have technology, the iPhones and to iPads and all that. But one person from Old Colony did mention to me there is a lack of home care support out there. But like telehealth, that works. Perhaps maybe this whole concept of hybrid programming could work, and we can work together to create a program where we can have home care support, checking in on somebody. We can't check in on them every day, but maybe check in because maybe we can set them up with an iPad and say, how are you doing today, Mr. Smith or Mrs. Regan, or anything like that. But it's a way that we could try to manage the influx of, changes and aging. So there's a lot of good stuff out there. I'm excited.
Utilize the Are You OK program through the Sheriff's Department?
Yes, we do. So the Are You OK program has changed its name. And don't ask me what it's called now. It's a different name they changed it to. But anyway, we actually have the flyers for that program. What it is the Sheriff's Department has funding so you would set a loved one up, their phone, and be checked in the morning by the Sheriff's Department. If they don't answer, then it gets, they call and contact.
We had talked about that before.
Yeah. But it was called the Are You OK, and isn't it called Red something?
I'm not sure.
It's changed its name.
Okay.
Yeah, so just all these different programs that are free. But again, and then if they don't reach anybody, they do send somebody out to do a well-being check, and that would be a police officer or the fire department, more than likely the police officer. So.
Okay, awesome.
Some cool stuff out there. I'm excited.
Just wrapping stuff up. Planting in spring. You're gonna plant.
Yeah. So we're gonna clean up the area. So just be patient. It's a little messy right now. We're gonna clean it all up, and then I actually, thankfully, Home Depot in Plymouth, they provided us with some community coupons, and that's how we were able to get the Grinch that Stole Christmas decorations. They were so supportive of that. So if you spend $50, you get $50 worth of goods. So I'll spend $50.
Be sure to put that in the minutes, just so we can document that Home Depot gave us that.
Yep. And so they were very supportive of that. So with that said, I'll buy $50 worth of, I don't know, wallpaper. I don't know what.
That's great.
and then we get $50
Yeah.
in plants.
Awesome.
So that way there we can, spruce up everything. But then also too, with this grant monies, we're hoping that we can actually create a nice area where we can go out and have like a patio out there. So that's so we got the furniture. We actually started purchasing a lot of stuff like that, and I just got to get authorization to see if we can get a gas grill too. Because if we have a social event, I would like to have that, a new gas grill and things like that, so.
Okay, and you're gonna send some people to Serve Safe?
Yep, so Serve Safe is coming up in April 14th. for myself and Barbara. I asked them as a backup, just in case I'm not there. Serve Safe, I think we need to have that Serve Safe. We should all have that Serve Safe anyway, especially if we have an event.
You're on a stickler
That's why
for
you
Serve
see,
Safe.
so a manager, so we'll be a manager. So Kingston Board of Health, she used to work for Serve Safe, and she used to do a lot of this other stuff, so she's awesome. But she was able to get the funding, reduce the cost, I guess, would be $350 normally per person, but we were able to get for $80 each person to be a manager for the Serve Safe.
Nice.
So that way there, if we had questions, when we go to have open food, we can do that, legitimately.
So I think I'd like to table the AARP tax prep training.
Yep.
Because
So-
I think maybe that's something for like next year.
Oh, the reason why I put her on there, because I wanted to reiterate, I was saying it wrong. So I think I said Vitra. It's not Vitra, it's Vita, sorry. So, but Vita, V-I-T-A, and I saw in that meeting, when I was watching it on television, or the video, it says, is it for all people? And I'm like, well, actually, I think it is. But VITA program is offered through the states or through, it's federal funded. But in Massachusetts, the Massachusetts Association of Community Action is open to all people. But the VITA program does, specifically through AARP work. So it does have a condition, a certain age group. So for instance, and I think I was trying to make that point, is that if you go to the senior center, typically you're going to be a certain age, right? So therefore, you're going to utilize the VITA program.
So what is the VITA program?
So basically the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did say VTRA, sorry, and I wanted to make that correction. Okay. But it's a super cool community for stability for seniors, also home ownership. It talks about a lot of different things. But this particular VITA program is for us, for the senior program. So
Awesome. So that's something we can maybe look at for next tax season.
Yeah, so Rich has been very supportive of that, so he's been providing us with flyers. So we'll put that out around August or so, maybe the end of July, early part of August, to see if there's anybody that wants to learn how to be a tax preparer.
Awesome.
It'd be kind of interesting to do your own taxes, and it's...
I've done mine all my life.
You're like,
Yeah.
see? So there you go, you could be a volunteer.
We have a program through AARP for free tax, because I know Plymouth does it, kind of does it.
They do.
Yeah.
So you would have to have
Instead of paying.
volunteers.
Okay,
So,
yes.
so that's the thing. So if in that town volunteers come forward, you can run that program.
Right.
So you would have to have a lead person, and I had that person, he's been coming here for a couple of years, actually. I tried to get him when we first got here, not realizing you had to have 3 people. So you have to have 3 volunteers plus the lead, and he runs that program. They check each other's work and so on. But then you have to have the 3 volunteers within the community.
So I think that's something
We'll
we
put
should
the ad out there.
definitely start for next year.
Yeah, we'll put the ad out there, so that's what I wanted to mention. Serve Safe Management, visit the State House. Oh, so, so much stuff. I have so many, I can be here all day. But the legislative breakfast went well. I went to that and got to meet a lot of wonderful people and network. And actually now I'm on a board. I don't know what board.
There you go.
I'm on a board.
So that was at the legislative breakfast was at the state, because I went to one for the library that was at the
this was
Plymouth.
one of the things. This is what I was through Old Colony Elder Services. And so they offered to either attend the legislative breakfast or to go to the State House, which is in May 13th. And that's to express your...
Well, that's the day after town meeting, so I'm not sure who's going to be able to
So,
go
I mean,
to the
it's
State
May
House.
13th, it was on my phone. Anyway, and so Old Colony says, well, can you you support us? What do you think? Which one would you like to go to? So there are people, I thought maybe it would be nice for Diane and Barbara to go and get out of the office and go into Boston and advocate for our aging population, our ageless population, and go in there and just talk to the state representatives, knock on their door and say, what are you going to do about X, Y, Z?
Yeah. Awesome.
And so that's why you can move mountains sometimes, just thinking, hopefully. And let's see. Oh, and now I have another grant due. So the state grant is due. That's how we get our state funding. So that's going to be, I'll be working on that.
Awesome.
And
So,
that's everything so far.
as always, if you need any help with any of that stuff, just please reach out to any of us. We're here to support you and to
Thank you.
help you with whatever you need to do. I know what a supportive board can get you. So I think Fred and Judy will agree where we want to be a supportive board and
Absolutely.
we want to help you however you need us to help you.
You guys live in town, so you gotta help yourselves. Right, in the end, so.
In the end, we will be helping us too. I know that.
The future. Good things coming up, Jump in Juba, all grant sponsored. Mass Cultural Council, the local cultural council sponsored that. Our fireplace is almost finished. She's gonna come back.
I have to get in there to see
Yep.
that.
So that's another for the love of art grant that I wrote. What else you got?
You wrote that from the Cultural Council?
Yep. Yes, I
Awesome.
did. And they were wonderful, and we were it was awesome.
Awesome.
What else was there? We have some other things, a lot of things, but Senior
going
Medicare
on.
Patrol went really well with the triad.
Yes, it did.
And he said.
I love the way they I love the way we brought all together to do that. But it was they're very wonderful and.
Senior Medicare Patrol, and you know the good thing? So, yes.
Oh, no, I was talking about the Plymouth County with the
the
department head meeting.
Yeah, so that was another thing. So the Senior Medicare Patrol people, they come in and it's funded through the ACL. So they came in to talk about fraud and the EOBs and doctors and having, physicals, 3 times a year. But
That was very well attended. Yeah, that was
But he
very
had
well
some really-
attended.
Yeah, it was.
Which is good.
But there's other things, there's other topics they talk about, security in terms of aging, what to look for and what to plan for. You should start this at age 25. It's too late. But they had some other really good types of topics too that I'd like to have them come and talk to us about.
Awesome.
So, and what you were talking about was the department head meeting. So in our department head meeting, I said, well, wouldn't it be nice to have something a little bit different? So the sheriff's department as well as the district attorney's office had a program running for CPR and first aid training. So, and with that, we get an AED device. But the thing was, is they had all this really special funding available to us. I'm like, hey, we'd like that. So I had them come in to do a CPR class for our department heads. You never know, but not that they got certified, but it was a great opportunity for us to learn and recall, even if you are certified, which I am, to remember exactly the steps if something does happen. So they did a good presentation, and it was interesting to tie it into our department head meeting. Everybody's like, what is this going to do with department head meeting? But it worked because guess what? You're a department head, and if somebody calls you and you're in the field, or even to stop and put a tourniquet on somebody down at the recycle center because they got hurt from some kind of metal or something, being able to stop the bleed. So, and that's it.
Okay. So should we adjourn at 10:37? And Diane, I will put you on the agenda for next meeting, so it'll just be like
Pam
an
said they probably don't
interview.
have to go to the meeting. Pam said they probably just bypass it. Just okay.
That sounds good.
Yeah, where I've been on
Yeah, 'cause she's boarded out.
So, I mean, we do, we don't have to interview you, but we do have to, like, approve, so
Yeah,
take
so I
a
have to
vote,
make the
so.
town clerk then.
We really should have an introduction too, because when Kim came on, she was a member
Yeah.
for 3 months. I didn't even know who she was.
Yeah,
But is she gonna be,
so,
Her term should be up this June.
this is right.
right, then we can take her off the, so, Diane, but the board has to approve you being on.
Right.
Yeah, and then you go down to Sue.
Yeah, but Pam had said she probably can bypass. The board has to approve, but I probably don't have to go to it. They'll just bring it up at the meeting.
Oh, you're talking about the selectmen's meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we
That's
ordered-
fine.
Yeah.
So, but what I was saying is, you'll come to the next meeting and the board will vote
You
to
guys have like
approve
an
you.
email that you send out to reminder for the meetings and,
Yes, I will send you,
And
yeah.
then we, so what,
only because I have so many VA appointments for
Yeah.
early.
Yeah,
So-
and I think that we should need to have like a checkoff list, you know, like, you come to our meeting to see if you like it. If you
Right.
like it, then you want to move forward, you go next step, next step. We should have a step.
Yeah,
step by
then
step.
that's what I was saying. So you just come to the meeting, we'll approve you. You
And
know.
then you've got to get your own town email. So
I have it already.
You don't, you do? Okay, cool.
Yeah. Well, Caesar just has to hook me back up again.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because I had it with the trustees.
yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'll put you on the agenda. Okay. For approving you next meeting. So that's the 3rd, and I will remind you. There you go. Okay, awesome.
Only because of overwhelmed with appointments.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Well, we have a VA appointment, but it'll be tomorrow.
Okay.
Well, we really try